Tales from the Darkside, Season 1, Episode 9, A Case of the Stubborns. A story about a grandpa that will just not die. Featuring a 15-year-old Christian Slater. It starts with his family mourning his death. While they think he's dead, Christian Slater is saying a prayer for him and hope that he goes to heaven. And then, out of nowhere, he just comes back alive, walks down the stairs, and has dinner with them. Now, this is one of the higher rated episodes. And I will read some reviews on this episode after I finish my review, because I don't really like this episode that much, but most people do. It has a 7.3 on IMDb. Very impressive. And I think my problem with this episode is that's pretty much the entire plot. Nothing else really happens. His family is convinced that he's dead. He is not dead and just keeps decomposing the entire episode. The makeup effects are effective, but they look a little weird. Here's him when he first comes down from the stairs and is decomposing a little bit. His nose looks broken and he looks like he has way too much like blush on. Decomposes more and more and more throughout the episode. This is supposed to be a dark comedy episode, but I don't find it very funny. He kind of huffs and puffs his way through the entire episode and really nothing else happens. They keep telling the grandpa he's dead, and he keeps saying he's not dead, and he decays throughout the entire episode. There's no subplot. He doesn't go haunt anyone. He just decays the entire episode. The makeup effects don't really make it look like he's decomposing. I mean, some of these it looks like he's about to go to a drag show or something. He has a bunch of lipstick on and blush and mascara and stuff like that. I don't know. Is he transitioning? They definitely do a lot of different effects as he decomposes. It's not like he just goes from looking normal to dead the next minute. He decomposes slowly over the episode, but I always think it just looks really, really weird. It looks like they just threw whatever makeup they had on him. The red lips, I don't really get it.
Look here, Titus.
You know I can't read, Dangy. What is it?
It's your death certificate.
The doctor who pronounced him dead comes over to the house to see Grandpa Titus and tries to convince him that he's dead. He has no heartbeat. He has no breath. Titus huffs and puffs just like he did with his family. We then get basically a repeat of this scene, except for this time, instead of it being the doctor, it's his pastor. He does the same thing. Tells him he's dead. Grandpa Titus just argues with him the entire time. So the family tells him he's dead. Doctor tells him he's dead. Now the pastor's telling him he's dead. And already the episode is more than halfway over. After the overbearing pastor scene that goes on a little too long, I guess they take some jabs at religion, but pretty much everything falls flat. We get what could possibly be an interesting scene where Christian Slater decides to visit a voodoo priestess to put his grandpa down and make sure that he stays dead. But they even kind of screw this one up. This is what the voodoo priestess looks like. She kind of looks like the old woman in the shoe or mother hen or something like that. She also has a Confederate flag. So I don't exactly know what's going on here, but this is not any voodoo ritual I've ever seen. And it looks ridiculous. So Christian Slater gets this pepper. That's all the voodoo priestess gives him is magic pepper. Couldn't you give him like a shrunken skull or something like that? A monkey's paw? No, she gives him pepper. Okay. She gives Christian Slater pepper, and he puts in his grandpa's napkin, and then when his grandpa goes to use his napkin, pepper gets on his face, and then he dies. Okay. Well, I think Case of the Stubborns is going to get a 4 out of 10. There are definitely worse episodes than this. However, we are going to go to the internet and see what they have to say about this episode and see why I'm so wrong. Let me smack myself. All right, so let's check out some reviews. So this guy says, a funny episode that was pretty clever. In this episode, we are treated to an old man. Well, that's true. We start off grieving his death with the mother and the son. Slater. That'd be Christian Slater. Dun, dun, dun. Then we are introduced to our recently deceased old man. It's another game of cat and mouse where Christian Slater tries to prove that his grandfather is dead. It was well acted and directed, and the gore effects are gross and cool. Well, they certainly are gross. The ending is quite humorous. It was an overall funny and lighthearted episode. Brent Spinner made a guest appearance as the priest that visits the house. The priest appearance, I think it went on a little too long, but I mean, I guess he tried his best, like, Baptist, kind of corrupt Baptist preacher impression, I guess. The ending is quite humorous. The ending has him, like, he sneezes into the napkin with the pepper, and then his nose falls off. 8 out of 10, dark comedy. It does not matter if you're watching whole show or not, because every episode stands by itself as a short movie. You're right, it's an anthology show. And this one, you don't want to miss. While series is mostly based on horror and mystery, this episode is comedy. Of course, to preserve the spirit of the show, it is a black comedy. That means it has horror elements, folks. Mother and son are just about to eat when Grandpa, who passed away last night, decides to join their meal. Family, doctor, priest, undertaker, everyone tries to explain him that he's dead, and he shouldn't just walk around like nothing happened. Yeah, that's the problem. They repeat it. Doctor, priest, undertaker, family, everyone. But old man is too stubborn to even listen, so he puts them all in uncomfortably but funny situations. He does do some kind of stand-up comedy type thing, kind of I don't know. The grandpa does kind of try to roast the family members. He's trying to do stand-up comedy or something. In this episode, young Christian Slater plays one of his earliest roles. Yeah, I didn't realize he got acted this young either. I knew it was around the 80s, but as a 15-year-old? Okay. This guy gave it a 6 out of 10, 10, 7, 9, 7, no 4s, 7, 10. I don't know why, but I just really enjoy this episode. It's dark, gruesome, and has a wicked sense of humor. It's like a long joke that someone tells you that just keeps getting funnier. Highly recommended. A nose knows. 10 out of 10. So, there you go. There's some of the reviews. This episode was directed by Gerald Coates, who we previously saw in the show Monsters that I covered earlier. He directed New York Honey, Parents from Space, and Portrait of the Artist. All pretty good episodes of Monsters. And we're going to see him again in Tales from the Darkside with some other more average episodes, I guess I would say. False Prophet, Choice of Dreams, and Heretic. Christian Slater, of course, as I mentioned earlier, played the kid character, Jody. And this actually wasn't his first acting credit. His first one was back in 1980 when he was 11 years old, and he's still acting today. So he's a child actor that didn't crash and burn. Give it up for Christian Slater. And I remember back in the day, people would kind of make fun of him, thinking that his career was over in the 90s and early 2000s. They were wrong. But, of course, he was in a lot of 80s movies like Heathers, Gleaning the Cube, a skateboard movie, The Wizard, Young Guns 2, True Romance, Interview with the Vampire, and he's still acting today. This year, starring in the Spiderwick Chronicles and Dexter: Original Sin. Is that a new series? Next up, Season 1, Episode 10 of Tales from the Darkside. Djinn No Chaser. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I might be giving some apologies, too, in case of the stubborns after this one, but it will be a fun ride. I mean, doesn't this screenshot just say it all? Yeah, get ready to laugh, folks. We're in for another comedy episode with a guy who's high on Quaaludes. See you next week.
Reviews of stories from a dark past time, crypt tales and old plots line by line. From forgotten classics to those well known, each movie, each show, each Twilight Zone. He's got that charm of passion so true, breaking it down just for me and you. So hit that button, subscribe today. TV Anthology's got a lot to say.